Welcome to this session on Business Research Methods, Module 3, Sampling Techniques and Data Collection. In this phase, we'll be exploring the fundamental concepts of sampling, what it is, why it matters, and some key terms you need to understand. To make things clear, imagine we wanted to survey people about their satisfaction with our local public library. So, keeping this as a case, we'll be dealing with this whole module, trying to understand the sampling techniques and the data collection methods. Let's get into the slides. Okay, so introduction to sampling. First, let's define our statistical population. So, what does this sampling means? So, before we take a sample, we should understand what statistical population is. This means everyone who uses the library or could potentially use it or prospective readers. Since surveying every single person may not be a realistic task or might be very difficult, we select a sample, maybe I would say a smaller group from the whole population that represents the sample. Next, we have to check the sampling frame. So, what is the sampling frame? Think of this as the list from which we pick our sample. For example, a list of registered library card holders. There might be many people who are visiting the library to read. From the whole population, we have chosen the sample, and from the sample, we are restricting or identifying the sampling frame, wherein we are restricting to registered library card holders only. When we sample, there is something called sampling error. What is the sampling error? The difference between what the whole population might actually think and what our sample wants to tell us. We also consider sample size. In other words, how many people do we survey? So be aware of non-response, which occurs when some chosen participants don't answer, which can really disturb the entire results of the research work. Understanding these concepts sets the stage for selecting a good and effective sample. So let me again reiterate some of these points once more. Sample statistical population is the set of individuals or items that the data could be collected from, and sample is a subset of the population, whereas sampling frame is a list or database from which a sample is drawn. Error is the difference between the population parameter and the sample statistics due to the sampling. And sample size is the number of observations in a sample. And non-response is when the individuals in the sample do not participate, leading to potential bias. Okay. What are the characteristics of a good sample? The first one is a representativeness, which reflects the diversity of the population. For example, a good sample should be representative of the entire population, capturing different age groups, maybe different gender, or coming from different income level or occupational level. Trying to identify diversity through demographic characteristics. Library, maybe the library usage habits may not be the same for all, right? So it should be adequate in size to provide. The next important feature is its adequacy in size to provide reliable, statistically meaningful result, which means large enough to provide reliable results. Moreover, participants should be selected randomly to reduce bias. So, what is this bias nature? Is because random selection may help to generate or select survey participants, which means not sticking onto a set of clusters or a group alone, but randomly scattering throughout. We may have diversity in terms of choosing the participants who can be a part of the survey, which can lead to better results. Let's try to understand a bit more about the sampling methods and with citing the same example in the next module. Thank you for listening.